Imagine standing at the edge of your own life, surrounded by noise, expectations, and voices telling you who you should be. Now, picture turning it all off, just for a moment, and hearing your own voice for the first time. What if the key to your confidence, your purpose, and your unshakable strength was waiting for you in the one place you've been avoiding: your own company? This is the story of how solitude can transform you into the most powerful version of yourself. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the world's noise? The constant ping of notifications, the weight of others' expectations, the pressure to always be on. It's easy to lose yourself in that chaos. But what if the answer to finding yourself isn't out there? It's within you. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's a sacred space where you meet the real you. Picture this: a young woman sits in a park, alone, watching the world pass by. She's not scrolling her phone or chasing distractions. She's just there, present, listening to her own thoughts. People might think she's lonely, but she's not. She's free. In that quiet, she's learning who she is without the world's filter. Solitude teaches you to stop seeking validation from others. It's where you realize your worth doesn't depend on likes, compliments, or invitations. You begin to hear your own voice, the one that knows what you want, what you deserve. And that voice, it's powerful. It tells you to walk away from spaces that dim your light, to say no to people who drain you. When you embrace your own company, you stop performing for others. You start living for yourself unapologetically. That's the first step to unlocking the strength within you. The world is loud, endless opinions, trends, and voices telling you who to be. It's like you're drowning in a sea of expectations, and your own desires get lost. Solitude is your lifeline. It's the moment you turn off the noise and tune into yourself. Think of a man who spent years chasing approval, saying yes to every invite, staying in toxic circles just to feel included. One day he chose differently. He turned off his phone, grabbed a journal, and sat in silence. At first it felt strange, even scary. But then something shifted. He started asking himself, what do I want? Not his friends, not his boss, just him. In that stillness, he found clarity. Solitude strips away the clutter, letting you see what truly matters. It's not about hiding from the world. It's about reconnecting with your core. You start to notice the small things. How you feel when you're not pretending. What sparks joy in your soul. That's when you realize you don't need to fit into anyone's mold. You're enough exactly as you are. And that realization, it's freedom. Healing doesn't happen in chaos. It happens in the quiet moments when you face yourself honestly. Imagine a woman who just walked away from a toxic relationship. Her friends urge her to move on by staying busy, but her heart says slow down. So she does. She spends evenings alone, not numbing the pain with distractions, but feeling it. She writes, she cries, she breathes through the hurt. Slowly, she starts to heal, not because someone saved her, but because she chose herself. Solitude is where you confront the truths you've been avoiding. It's where you ask, why did I let that happen? And find answers that set you free. In those quiet moments, you forgive yourself for staying too long, for shrinking to fit in. You learn that healing isn't about forgetting the pain. It's about understanding it, learning from it, and letting it go. When you sit with yourself, you rebuild your foundation. You become your own safe space, strong enough to face anything. That's the power of healing in solitude. It makes you whole again. Purpose isn't found in the spotlight. It's found in the shadows, in the moments no one sees. When you're alone, away from the world's demands, you start to hear the whispers of your soul. Picture a young man who felt lost, always following the crowd, chasing trends that left him empty. One day, he took a solo trip, just him, a backpack, and nature. In the quiet of the forest, he started writing. Words poured out, raw and honest. Those words became stories, and those stories became his calling. Solitude gave him the space to ask, what sets my heart on fire? It's in those moments of reflection that you rediscover forgotten dreams, the hobbies you loved, the ideas that once excited you. Purpose doesn't scream, it whispers. It's the tug in your chest when you see something that moves you, the spark when you do something just for you. When you embrace solitude, you create room for those whispers to grow louder. You don't need a crowd to find your path. You need the courage to listen to yourself. When you spend time alone, you build something no one can take away. Inner strength. You stop relying on others to define your worth. You become unshakable. Think of a woman who used to crumble when someone didn't text back or when plans fell through. She felt invisible without others' approval. Then she started choosing herself. She took herself on dates, celebrated her own wins, and learned to enjoy her own company. Slowly, she became a force, calm, confident, radiant. Solitude teaches you to stand tall, even when the world tries to pull you down. You learn to say no without guilt, to walk away from what doesn't serve you, and to trust your own judgment. That's when you become magnetic. Not because you're loud or flashy, but because you're whole. People are drawn to your quiet confidence, your unshakable peace. And the best part, you don't need their validation anymore. You know who you are. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and visit our channel for more inspiring stories. Solitude is where you stop pretending. It's where you shed the masks you wear to please others. Imagine a man who spent years trying to fit in, laughing at jokes he didn't find funny, agreeing to plans that drained him. He was exhausted, living for everyone but himself. Then one evening, he chose to stay in. No phone, no noise, just him and his thoughts. In that quiet, he asked, "Who am I when no one's watching?" The answer changed everything. He realized he'd been hiding his true self to avoid judgment. Solitude gave him the courage to embrace his quirks, his passions, his unique spark. When you spend time alone, you stop shaping yourself to fit others' expectations. You start to love the parts of you that you once hid. Your loud laugh, your quiet dreams, your unfiltered thoughts. That's when you become authentic. You walk into rooms not wondering what others think, but knowing who you are. Authenticity is magnetic. It draws people who love you for you. And it all starts in the quiet of your own company. You don't need someone else to complete you. You are already whole. Solitude teaches you to rely on yourself for happiness, not others. Picture a woman who used to wait for texts, for compliments, for someone to make her feel worthy. Her heart would sink with every unanswered message. One day, she decided enough was enough. She turned off her notifications and spent a weekend alone. She cooked her favorite meal, danced to her favorite songs, and wrote down her dreams. For the first time, she felt full. Not because someone validated her, but because she validated herself. Solitude shows you that your joy is yours to create. It's not tied to someone's presence or absence. You learn to hold your own heart, to celebrate your wins, to comfort yourself through pain. That's emotional independence. Knowing you can stand strong, no matter who stays or leaves. When you find that strength, you stop chasing approval. You become free. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and visit our channel for more inspiring stories. Clarity doesn't come from chaos. It comes from stillness. When you're alone, the fog of others' opinions lifts, and you see your path clearly. Think of a young woman who felt lost, always scrolling through social media, comparing herself to others. Her mind was cluttered, her heart heavy. One day, she put her phone down and sat by a window, watching the rain. In that quiet, she asked herself, "What do I really want?" The answer wasn't a new job or a new relationship. It was peace. Solitude gave her the space to listen to her intuition, to untangle her thoughts from the world's noise. It's in those moments of stillness that you hear what your soul's been trying to tell you. You realize you've been chasing things that don't align with your truth. Solitude helps you reset, refocus, and redesign your life with intention. It's not about escaping, it's about returning to yourself. When you find clarity, you make choices that honor your purpose, not someone else's expectations. When you embrace solitude, you change your energy, and that changes who you attract. Picture a man who used to surround himself with people who took more than they gave. He was afraid of being alone, so he tolerated shallow friendships. Then He took a step back. He spent months alone, reading, reflecting, and rebuilding his self-worth. As he grew stronger, he noticed something. The wrong people faded away, and the right ones appeared. Solitude filters your life. When you value your own company, you stop settling for less. You attract people who respect your boundaries, who celebrate your growth, who match your energy. It's not about having more friends. It's about having real ones. Your solitude becomes a magnet, drawing in connections that align with your authentic self. You don't need to chase people anymore. The right ones find you when you're true to yourself. That's the power of being whole. You attract what you embody, not what you seek. Solitude makes you unstoppable. It's where you find the strength to rise above the world's chaos. Imagine a woman who used to feel small in crowded rooms, always trying to prove her worth. She'd shrink to fit in, dim her light to avoid attention. Then, she started spending time alone. She journaled, took long walks, and learned to love her own voice. Slowly, she stopped caring about others' opinions. She walked into rooms with quiet confidence, her presence commanding respect without a word. Solitude builds a foundation no one can shake. It teaches you to trust your instincts, to stand firm in your truth. You stop apologizing for who you are. You become a force, calm, grounded, and powerful. The world's noise can't touch you anymore because you've found peace within. When you embrace solitude, you don't just survive, you thrive. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and visit our channel for more inspiring stories. Solitude is where you rewrite the story of your life. It's where you let go of the narratives others have written for you and start crafting your own. Imagine a young man who grew up believing he wasn't enough. Too quiet, too different. He spent years trying to be someone else, chasing approval that never came. One day, he sat alone with a notebook and began to write his truth. He realized the labels he'd carried weren't his. They were projections from others. In solitude, you have the power to redefine yourself. You ask, who am I beyond the expectations? And discover answers that set you free. You're not the mistakes you made or the doubts others planted. You're the dreams you've buried, the passions you've ignored. Solitude gives you the pen to rewrite your story. One where you're the hero, not the sidekick. It's where you decide what's possible for you. When you embrace your own narrative, you stop living someone else's version of your life. You become the author of your destiny. Peace isn't found in a crowded room or a busy life. It's found in the quiet of your own heart. Picture a woman who was always running, filling her days with tasks to avoid facing her pain. She was afraid of silence, afraid of what it might reveal. Then, one evening, she sat alone with a cup of tea, no distractions. In that stillness, she felt her tension melt. She didn't need to be anywhere or prove anything. Solitude became her sanctuary. It's where you learn to breathe deeply, to let go of the chaos you've carried. You start to notice the small joys, a sunrise, a quiet moment, the sound of your own laughter. Inner peace isn't about escaping life's challenges. It's about finding calm amidst them. When you spend time alone, you build a foundation of serenity that no storm can shake. You learn to carry peace with you, no matter where you go. That's the gift of solitude. It makes you a home for your own soul. Your inner voice is your greatest guide, but it's often drowned out by the world's noise. Solitude lets you hear it clearly. Think of a man who always sought advice from others, second-guessing his every move. He felt lost, unsure of his own instincts. One day, he took a long walk alone, no phone, no distractions. In the quiet, he asked himself, what do I know to be true? The answers came, soft at first, then stronger. Solitude teaches you to trust your gut, to listen to the whispers of your intuition. It's where you realize you don't need others to validate your choices. Your inner voice knows when something feels wrong, when a dream is worth chasing, when it's time to let go. The more time you spend alone, the louder that voice becomes. You start making decisions from a place of clarity, not doubt. Trusting yourself is freedom. It's the key to living a life that's true to you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and visit our channel for more inspiring stories. Fear thrives in noise, but it fades in solitude. When you're alone, you face the fears you've been running from. Picture a woman who avoided being alone because it meant confronting her insecurities. She feared she wasn't enough without a partner, without approval. Then, she started spending time alone, not to hide, but to heal. She sat with her fears, named them, and realized they were just stories she'd told herself. Solitude gives you the courage to let go of what holds you back. You stop fearing judgment, rejection, or failure because you know your worth isn't tied to those things. In the quiet, you find strength to release the need for control, the need to please. You learn that fear is just a visitor, not a permanent guest. When you let go, you make space for confidence, for growth, for possibility. Solitude isn't about isolation. It's about liberation from the fears that keep you small. When you embrace solitude, you become unstoppable, a force of nature. Imagine a man who once felt invisible, always blending into the background. He feared standing out, so he stayed small. Then, he started carving out time for himself. He read, reflected, and reconnected with his dreams. In solitude, he found his fire. He began to carry himself differently. Head high, voice steady, eyes full of purpose. Solitude builds a strength that radiates from within. It's not about being loud or flashy. It's about being grounded in who you are. You become a person who doesn't shrink, who doesn't apologize for their existence. People notice your presence, not because you demand attention, but because you embody power. You inspire others, not by what you say, but by how you live, authentically, fearlessly, fully. That's the magic of solitude. It turns you into a force no one can ignore. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and visit our channel for more inspiring stories. Solitude is where you discover your true value. It's where you stop measuring yourself by others' standards and start seeing your own worth. Imagine a woman who always felt she had to prove herself at work, in relationships, even to strangers. She was exhausted, constantly seeking approval. One day, she chose to sit alone with her thoughts. In that quiet, she realized her value wasn't tied to what others thought of her. It was in her kindness, her resilience, her unique spark. Solitude teaches you that you don't need to earn your place in the world. You already belong. You stop chasing validation and start owning your worth. You realize your time, energy, and heart are precious, and you choose to share them only with those who respect them. That shift changes everything. You walk taller, speak with conviction, and live with purpose. When you know your worth, you stop settling for less than you deserve. Solitude isn't just time alone, it's time to claim your power. In solitude, you rediscover the joy in life's simple moments. The world tells you happiness comes from more friends, more success, more noise. But true joy often lives in the quiet. Picture a man who filled his life with parties and distractions, yet felt empty. One morning, he woke up early, made coffee, and sat by his window watching the sunrise. No phone, no rush, just him and the moment. In that stillness, he felt a spark of joy he'd forgotten. Solitude lets you find beauty in the small things, a walk in the park, the sound of rain, a page in your journal. It's where you learn that happiness doesn't need an audience. You don't need to post it or prove it. It's yours. When you embrace these moments, you build a life filled with quiet contentment. Solitude teaches you that joy isn't out there. It's within you, waiting to be noticed. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and visit our channel for more inspiring stories. Solitude gives you the strength to set boundaries that protect your peace. Imagine a young woman who always said yes to late night calls, draining friendships, endless demands. She feared disappointing others. Then, she started spending time alone, reflecting on what truly mattered. In those moments, she realized her energy was sacred. She began saying no, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. Solitude teaches you to value your time and heart. It's where you learn to draw lines, not to push people away, but to honor yourself. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's survival. It's how you create space for growth, for joy, for the right people. When you're comfortable being alone, you stop fearing others' reactions. You say no with confidence, knowing your worth doesn't depend on their approval. That's the power of solitude. It builds a fortress around your peace, letting you live on your own terms. Your dreams often get buried under the weight of the world's expectations. Solitude is where you unearth them. Think of a man who once dreamed of writing a book but gave up, thinking it was impractical. Life's noise drowned out his passion. One day, he took a weekend alone, no distractions. He picked up a pen and started writing again. In that quiet, his dream came alive. Solitude is where you reconnect with the things that light you up, the goals you set aside, the hobbies you loved. It's where you ask, what would I do if no one was watching? And find answers that reignite your fire. Your dreams don't need permission or applause. They need space to breathe. When you spend time alone, you give yourself permission to dream big again. You start taking steps toward what truly matters, not what the world expects. Solitude turns your dreams from whispers into reality. In solitude, you realize you don't need someone else to save you. You are your own hero. Picture a woman who always looked to others for strength. Friends, partners, mentors. When they let her down, she felt lost. Then, she started spending time alone, facing her fears and doubts head on. In those quiet moments, she found a resilience she didn't know she had. Solitude teaches you that you are enough. You learn to pick yourself up, to cheer for your own victories, to wipe your own tears. You become the one you can always count on. That's the ultimate power, knowing you can face any storm because you've built strength within. When you embrace solitude, you stop waiting for a savior. You step into your own power, ready to conquer anything. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and visit our channel for more inspiring stories. Solitude is where you discover the beauty of your uniqueness. The world often pushes you to blend in, to dim your light to fit the crowd. But alone, you see what makes you shine. Imagine a young woman who always felt different, like she didn't belong. She hid her quirks to avoid standing out. One day, she spent an afternoon alone sketching in a notebook. Those sketches revealed a creativity she'd suppressed. In solitude, she embraced her unique voice. Her art, her perspective, her spark. Solitude shows you that your differences aren't flaws, they're your strength. You don't need to be like anyone else to be enough. When you spend time alone, you learn to love the things that make you you. That love radiates outward, drawing others who see and celebrate your light. You stop hiding and start shining unapologetically. Solitude isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the fullest version of yourself. In solitude, you learn to master your emotions instead of letting them control you. Picture a man who used to spiral when life got tough. Anger, doubt, and fear would take over. He'd react impulsively, regretting it later. Then he started carving out time alone. In those quiet moments, he faced his emotions head-on. He journaled about his anger, cried through his pain, and sat with his fears. Solitude taught him to pause, to breathe, to understand what he was feeling. It's where you learn that emotions are signals, not chains. You don't have to act on every feeling. You can choose how to respond. That's power. When you spend time alone, you build emotional strength, learning to calm your heart in chaos. You become steady, not because life is perfect, but because you trust yourself to handle it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and visit our channel for more inspiring stories. Solitude is the fertile ground where growth takes root. It's where you shed old habits and make room for new possibilities. Think of a woman who felt stuck, trapped in a cycle of self, doubt, and routine. She was too busy pleasing others to focus on herself. One day, she took a solo trip to a quiet cabin. With no distractions, she reflected on her life. She realized she'd outgrown her old ways. She was ready for more. Solitude gives you the space to ask, what's next for me? It's where you let go of what no longer serves you and plant seeds for your future. You start small, reading a new book, trying a new skill, or simply dreaming bigger. Growth isn't loud, it's quiet, steady, and intentional. When you embrace solitude, You create room for transformation. You become a version of yourself you never thought possible, built from the inside out. Confidence isn't born in applause, it's built in solitude. Imagine a man who always doubted himself, shrinking in social settings to avoid judgment. He felt unworthy without others' approval. Then he started spending evenings alone, reflecting on his strengths. In those quiet moments, he realized he didn't need validation to feel good about himself. Solitude teaches you to stand firm in your worth, even when no one's watching. You stop comparing yourself to others and start celebrating your own journey. Confidence grows when you trust your own voice, when you know your value isn't tied to external praise. You walk into rooms not seeking approval, but owning your presence. That's the gift of solitude. It builds a confidence that no one can take away. You become unshakable, grounded in the truth of who you are. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and visit our channel for more inspiring stories. Solitude helps you uncover your purpose, the reason you're here. Picture a woman who felt lost, drifting through life without direction. She was always busy, but never fulfilled. One night, alone in her room, she asked herself, "What makes me come alive?" In the quiet, memories of her childhood love for teaching surfaced. She started volunteering, sharing her knowledge, and found joy she'd forgotten. Solitude is where you connect with your deepest desires, where you hear the call of your purpose. It's not about grand gestures, it's about the small, meaningful steps you take toward what lights you up. When you spend time alone, you align with what truly matters. You live with intention, not obligation. Your purpose becomes your compass, guiding you through life's noise. Solitude doesn't just help you find yourself. It helps you find your reason to shine. Solitude is where you learn to let your light shine without fear. The world may tell you to stay small, to hide your brilliance, to avoid standing out. But alone, you realize your light is your power. Picture a young man who always played it safe, afraid to share his ideas. He thought they weren't good enough. One day, alone in his room, he started writing his thoughts. Those thoughts became a blog, then a movement. In solitude, he found the courage to share his voice. Solitude teaches you that your unique gifts, your ideas, your creativity, your passion, are meant to be shared. You stop worrying about judgment and start embracing your purpose. When you let your light shine, you inspire others to do the same. You become a beacon, not because you seek attention, but because you're true to yourself. Solitude gives you the strength to step into the world unapologetically, radiating a light that no one can dim. In solitude, you find the grace to forgive yourself. We all carry mistakes, choices we regret, moments we wish we could redo. Imagine a woman haunted by past decisions, always beating herself up. She felt unworthy of happiness. One quiet evening, alone with her thoughts, she wrote a letter to herself, forgiving the mistakes she'd held on to. Solitude is where you confront your guilt and let it go. It's where you realize that your past doesn't define you, your growth does. You learn to be gentle with yourself, to see your mistakes as lessons, not chains. Forgiving yourself isn't weakness, it's strength. It's choosing to free your heart from burdens you no longer need to carry. In those quiet moments, you heal old wounds and make peace with who you are. That's the power of solitude. It helps you find compassion for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and visit our channel for more inspiring stories. Solitude reminds you of the strength you've always had. Life's challenges can make you forget how resilient you are. Picture a man who faced setback after setback, lost jobs, broken relationships. He felt defeated. Then he started spending time alone, reflecting on his journey. In the quiet, he remembered the times he'd overcome hardship, the moments he'd risen stronger. Solitude is where you reconnect with your inner warrior. You see the battles you've won, the fears you've faced, the dreams you've kept alive. It's where you realize you're not defined by what breaks you, but by how you rebuild. Every moment alone strengthens your resolve, reminding you that you're capable of anything. You don't need others to remind you of your power. You find it within. Solitude turns your scars into stories of triumph, making you unstoppable. In solitude, you begin to think about the mark you want to leave on the world. It's where you ask, what will my life stand for? Imagine a woman who spent years living for others, never considering her own legacy. One day, alone by a lake, she reflected on what truly mattered to her. She wanted to inspire, to create, to leave something meaningful behind. Solitude gives you the clarity to define your purpose. It's where you decide to live intentionally, to build a life that reflects your values. Your legacy isn't about fame or wealth. It's about the lives you touch, the difference you make. When you spend time alone, you start crafting a story worth telling. You choose to live with courage, to act with purpose, to be a force for good. Solitude helps you see that your life is a canvas painted with boldness and love. Solitude is where you become whole. It's where you realize you don't need anyone else to complete you. You are enough. Picture a man who always sought love and validation outside himself. When those connections faded, he felt broken. Then he started embracing solitude. In those quiet moments, he found peace in his own company. He learned to love himself, flaws and all. Solitude teaches you that wholeness comes from within. You don't need a relationship, a title, or applause to feel complete. You find joy in your own existence, strength in your own heart. When you're whole, you bring your best self to the world, not out of need, but out of fullness. You love deeply, live boldly, and stand firmly because you know your worth. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and visit our channel for more inspiring stories.